Greetings, traveler. Today I'd like to introduce the Fiend, which is a customization of the Warlock class from Dungeons & Dragons. I made this customization for our Dieselpunk post-apocalyptic D&D campaign that happens to be the same world, the same environment and characters as we use in our video game. And today what I want to talk about is how the Fiend is different from the typical Warlock from Dungeons & Dragons and what different abilities it has and so on. If you don't know who I am, my name is Xanthos. I've been working in the games industry for over 14 years now. I've been playing D&D for about 30 years now. And when I started working on the video game that we're making right now, which is combat between airships essentially, I wanted to also have a lot of details about the world. I wanted to have multiple locations, multiple characters and so on. And what better way to populate that than a good multi-year long Dungeons & Dragons campaign. So in that campaign, because the world in the game is different from a typical Dungeons & Dragons fantasy setting, there were several customizations, and today I want to talk about the Warlock. So I'm looking at the player's handbook here, and I'll be going through various elements you see in the book and how they translate to our world, which is called the Blue Wasteland. I will leave a link down below if you want to check that out too. So typically the Warlock works as in the book, except you only, or the Fiend in our case, in this world there's no summoning, there's no magic in the traditional sense. Instead there's remnants of technology. And technology being said, it's nothing as advanced as the Iron Man suit, for example, or VR or any of that crazy stuff. It's more basic than that. So all the magical effects that require summoning, extravagant illusions and so on don't exist. So what can the Warlock do in this world? Well, the Warlock takes the shape of someone who focuses entirely on this very complex, very difficult to understand, and it takes years to master flamethrower, essentially, that is capable of doing several things, such as extending the range of the flame, the type of fuel that's used. It has multiple compartments. It can use different types of fuel and mix them on the fly. And the Warlock, or the Fiend in this case, focuses his study entirely on those chemical compounds and how he can create maximum mayhem and inferno with this one weapon that he focuses on, the flamethrower. Also, to be able to withstand the flames and all the crazy experimentation that's necessary with that, Fiends typically wear this heat-resistant suit of armor, essentially. It's not very heavy armor in the sense of heavy metal plates, but it does cover the entire body. It's completed with a gas mask type of helmet, so the entire body is covered, and it makes sure that all the fumes and all the gases that come out as a result of all this experimentation and flamethrower use affect the user as little as possible. So let's see. You create the Warlock, so there's the options for equipment. In the options for equipment, we go with the last one. So the armor part, instead of a simple weapon, you get the flamethrower and you get your 2 daggers. For pact magic, it essentially works just like in the book. Eldritch invocations as well. Now for the pact boon, instead of the chain and the blade, only the tome is available, and in this case it's Pact of the Flamethrower, I suppose. Mystic Arcanum and Eldritch Master works as described, and for the otherworldly patron, as you can imagine, only the Fiend is allowed in this world. So for the Fiend expanded spells, nothing that's too magical, too traditional magic, I suppose, or close to summoning and so on, or very indirect compulsions and so on. Those are typically not allowed. So there's very much a focus on generating fire with the flamethrower. So, for example, for the expanded spells for first level, Burning Hands is very much in theme with the character, so it's allowed. But command, it would be hard to imagine how that would work in this world where there is no magic, and we replace as many effects as possible by usually chemistry or some basic technology. Likewise, for second level deafness and blindness, I suppose it's technically possible by creating some sort of big flash or a big sound with the flamethrower, since you can customize it so much. But Scorching Ray is definitely much more in line, and it continues with the same logic. So Fireball is definitely allowed. Stinking Cloud, again, is possible. You could have the flamethrower throw out some gas instead by modifying it, but Fireball is definitely more in line. Fire Shield, again, that would be something that constantly surrounds you even if you move, which is difficult in this world, but Wall of Fire is much more in line with what the class can do, so you can just create a line of fire and have the fuel stay on the ground and keep burning. And again, 5th level, Flame Strike, yes. Halo, not so much. So that's basically it for the basic abilities. And I also want to talk about the list of spells a little bit to show what the more preferred spells, or I guess abilities as they would function in this case, are for the Fiend. So Blade Ward, again, wouldn't make much sense in this case from 0 level spells. Chill Touch, no. Eldritch Blast, yes. And in fact, Fire Element would make even more sense in this case, or something chemical. Friends, I'm sorry. Mage Hand, nope. Minor Illusion, nope. Poison Spray, yeah, I could see that working, again with some sort of poison, but again, a bit far away from the image of the class. Prestidigitation, I guess you could do some sort of fire show, again, kind of limited. True Strike, I don't know how that would work, so probably not. And for first level, well, let's just keep it short and say that Witch Bolt makes sense. What else? Not much else makes sense. I guess Hex, if you throw some sort of weird chemical compound at the enemy, and so on. Second level, Hold Person could work with again some sort of chemical goo that immobilizes the target. Invisibility doesn't really make sense here. Misty Step, again, it would require a lot of justification. Shatter makes more sense. Spider Climb, I suppose, since you can customize your own suit too. Ray of Enfeeblement, again, with some sort of chemical could work. Darkness, definitely. You could modify the flamethrower to pump out a lot of smoke instead. And I think you get the general gist of this class. So the idea here is to create this demon on the battlefield who just spreads fire everywhere and can modify the shape of the flames, the type of the flames, or the type of chemicals used to create any effect he likes. Now, of course, just because I said that those effects are not available in the world, that doesn't mean that they should absolutely be banned. In fact, the way this world works, the Blue Wasteland, is that people find lost knickknacks and little artifacts and little things from, I suppose, society as we know it today. So it is possible to find a little gadget that does this amazing thing that normally you wouldn't find that world. So there is a little window for small, I guess you would call them minor wondrous items or something like that. But as long as it's technology or chemistry based and it's pretty low tech, so again, no I don't know, amazing VR or highly detailed holograms or anything like that, or summoning or healing, I suppose. So healing, again, in the medicinal and chemical compound sense makes sense, but pointing at someone and say, you are healed for 8 hit points. That wouldn't make much sense. So I think you get the idea. I bet you have questions about this. How would a certain power or spell would work in this situation or this world, or how does the Fiend evolve later on in levels? I'll be happy to answer the questions, so please put them down below. And if you're interested in this kind of world, and if you're interested in the video game we're making in this world, you can use the forum down below to book a call with me. Let me know what questions you have, what you like about this world, what you would like to see in this game, and you will get a free game invite for our game when it gets released. And as long as you book the call sometime in in August 2025. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have fun.